For years, we've all been thinking of AI as this sort of crystal ball, right? A system that's all about predicting what's going to happen next. But what if the next giant leap for AI isn't about seeing the future, but about explaining the present? What if it could stop acting like an oracle and start acting more like a detective, telling us why things are the way they are? Well, that's the quiet revolution we're diving into today. So, at the very heart of this whole thing is a concept called abductive reasoning. I know this definition looks a little dense, something straight out of a textbook, but it's actually incredibly powerful. It's totally different from the deductive logic we all learned. All men are mortal, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. Abduction is the reverse. It starts with the observation and works backward to find the most likely explanation. It's basically the logic of making a really, really good, educated guess. Let me put it this way. You're basically playing Sherlock Holmes. He walks into a room, sees a few clues, a scuff mark here, some cigar ash over there, and from those clues, he pieces together the most probable story that explains everything. Or think about a doctor. A patient comes in with symptoms, and the doctor's job is to figure out the most likely illness causing them. That is abductive reasoning in a nutshell. It's all about finding the missing piece of the puzzle. Okay, so what happens when you teach a machine to be a detective like that? Well, you get something extraordinary. You get an AI that can look at everything we know about science, notice when something doesn't add up, and then figure out what fundamental law we might actually be missing. This slide really gets to the core of the whole shift. See, most AI that's used for science is just crunching data, trying to find new formulas that fit what it sees. But a system called AI Noether, it does something completely different. When it finds a new formula that just doesn't jive with our existing theories, it doesn't just toss the formula out. No, it asks a much better question. What's missing from our theory? What would make this new discovery make perfect sense? So how on earth does it work? It's actually a pretty elegant three-step process. First, it takes all our known rules and the new observation and translates them into a single, complex geometric object. You can think of it like creating a complete map of our current knowledge. Then, second, it breaks that map down into its simplest, most fundamental parts, kind of like finding the prime factors of a giant number. And finally, it looks at all those simple parts and figures out which one is the missing rule, the hidden piece needed to complete the entire picture.
Let's make this a little more real with a classic example. Just imagine that we, as humanity, had figured out Kepler's third law. The one that perfectly describes how a planet's orbit time relates to its distance from the sun. So we have the what. But let's pretend we had completely forgotten about the law of universal gravitation. We have no idea why the planets move that way.
And this is where the magic happens. AI Noether is given the basic rules of motion, and it's given Kepler's law. Right away, it spots a problem. Something's missing. The theory is incomplete. So it does its abductive reasoning thing and deduces the one single missing piece that would perfectly connect everything, the equation for gravitational force. It literally rediscovers a fundamental law of physics just by identifying it as the best explanation for what it sees. Amazing. Now, rediscovering physics is incredible, but this same detective logic has huge implications for the super complex systems we deal with every single day. I'm talking about things like global data centers and corporate finance. So let's see how this cosmic logic applies in the world of profits and loss. This quote just nails it. In any complex system, whether it's a massive cloud network or a company's financial statements, reliability is absolutely everything. But when things do go wrong, finding the real root cause can feel just as impossible as finding a missing law of physics. And the analogy here is surprisingly direct. It's almost one-to-one. In science, you have axioms. In business, you have business rules or just the laws of physics that govern your hardware. Your scientific variables become your key performance indicators, your KPIs. A strange new scientific observation? Well, that's your unexpected revenue shortfall or that sudden latency spike in your network. And that missing law of gravity we talked about? In the business world, that's the unknown root cause of your problem. And this is precisely the problem that a system called the XR series is built to solve. Its whole purpose isn't just to react to fires, but to detect the subtle drift that leads to them before they become total catastrophes. It uses tools like XRAD, which is basically an AI debugger, to perform that abductive reasoning and hunt down the root cause. And it uses another module, XOA, to make sure all its logic is grounded in the fundamental rules of the system, whether that's physics or finance. Okay, so let's talk about the real-world impact. Let's get down to brass tacks. Because when you can actually find the why behind a massive problem, the results, they are staggering. First off, let's just consider the cost of not knowing why things break. The average cost of data center downtime isn't per hour, it's $9,000 per minute. And if that wasn't bad enough, get this. In a shocking 40% of all IT outages, the true root cause is never actually found. The problem gets a temporary patch, people build workarounds, but the underlying why is still lurking there, just waiting to happen again. All right, now let's apply this to a real business crisis. Picture a huge $5 billion company. They just missed their quarterly revenue forecast by $150 million. The board is furious, a task force is scrambled, and the frantic, high-stakes hunt for why is on. So, in the old world, this means weeks of agony, right? It all ends with a massive 50-page report that's just full of charts and correlations, but no single definitive answer. But with the causal AI like XRAD, the story is completely different. In just 48 hours, it traces the problem down to a single causal chain. A specific pricing change made on April 1st directly caused a 20% drop in conversion rates for their biggest enterprise deals. It's not a correlation, it's the actual cause. And because they found the why, they could act immediately. They rolled back the pricing change, and in the very next quarter, they recovered $130 million of that lost revenue. That is the power of moving from just seeing correlations to understanding true causation. This isn't just some new feature for AI. This represents a massive, fundamental shift in what we even use artificial intelligence for. We're really talking about the dawn of a new era. So here's the bottom line. The predictive AI that we've all known for years is about answering one question: what will happen? It's great at finding correlations in data to forecast the future. But this causal AI, it's designed for a different, and you could argue, a much more powerful question. Why is this happening? It's not about predicting an event, it's about explaining its root cause. It moves us beyond simple correlation to discovering actual causation. You know, for decades, we've been building machines that get better and better at just answering our questions. But now, we're building machines that can help us find the right questions to ask in the first place by revealing the hidden logic behind everything we see. This incredible shift from prediction to explanation is really just beginning, and it leaves us with one thrilling question to think about. Now that AI can finally find the why, what mysteries will it solve next?